So before I begin, I just want to say, like, my nephew is out there in my living room and he's like watching TV and stuff. So I'm gonna let him live his best life. If you hear noise in the background, that's what it is. But anyway, little story. So after the pandemic, a lot of stuff became too much. School, work, family, everything became too much. And I don't know about you, but if you're anything like me, I became easily overwhelmed, and it lasted for a number of years. So there's some things that I had to change for myself to help me not feel that way, because I'm just like, the world is just going to continue getting faster. Multiple things are going on. We're growing. We have more responsibilities coming on board and everything. So it's only going to get worse if I don't do something, if I don't change or shift something within myself to kind of fit the new times that we're in. So hopefully these things will help you too. The first one is probably the hardest one, but you may have to remove or readjust some of your obstacles. I don't even want to really call them obstacles, because it might be something that is not an obstacle, but something you were working towards, but it just doesn't work anymore right now. When I say obstacle, that kind of makes me feel like it didn't have any value or benefit in your life to begin with, but it's not that. It's just sometimes you have to reevaluate what's going on. Like, and it might be something really tough. Like if you were working towards a certain degree in school and then you realize that degree is not resonating with you anymore. Harsh reality is, like, maybe you need to shift into something else. Maybe that was relevant at that time in your life, but now it's not. At this point, be honest with yourself about what you have going on and what's happening, and adjust it the way that you need to, in a way that works for you. You're the only one that has to go through life with you. The only one that really has to. So like, you have to live with yourself and your choices and your decisions. So make sure that they fit. And not just for school, but that goes like for jobs too. If you're working a job and that job does not make you happy, why are you still there? Like, I know it's easier said than done to say, okay, just get a new job, right? But make it a full-time job to look for a new job. Like, do not cease until you get that new job, and let go of other people's expectations. Work a job that you like, that you enjoy, that you can deal with every day, that'll also pay your bills and fund the other things that you want to do in life. Now, this is for people who feel that family is the most important thing, which is most people, but I can't speak for everybody. If you feel like family is the most important thing for you, you need to make sure that you're planning your family events first. And I say this because I found that I was giving my family the leftover portion of me in my job, my work, my events, the best part of my life. And while that does sometimes happen, because life is an ebb and flow, you want to make sure that you are setting in your family's events, your family's priorities and things first, and then everybody else can fit around that. Because it's not fair to your family, the people you love the most, the people who love you the most, to get the leftover pieces of you, and just because of the hustle and bustle of life. So we have to make sure that we're doing those things first and using what's left to go there. And I don't literally mean using what's left, because we're not going to work ourselves to zero anymore. You need to cut time out for yourself, whatever that may look like. And what it may look like for this week may not look the same for next week. But making sure that you are checking in with yourself and you're saying, okay, I've been following these routines. I've been doing work and coming home and shower and eat and sleep over and over and over again for a very long time now. So what can I do for me? And money might be an issue. If money is an issue, that's okay. But maybe you need to pull back where money is being directed towards. Like, maybe you have 12 subscription sites. Get rid of 2 of them and start putting that money towards yourself. You can go try that new restaurant you saw on Instagram, or you can go try a cooking class for I don't know, whatever it is you want to learn how to cook. You need to be able to be spontaneous in life and just like do the things that you've been looking at, the things you've been wishing for and hoping for. You have the ability to do that, but there are some changes you have to make in order to make that fit sometimes. So whatever it is, play with your routines a bit and see how you can sometimes break those to give yourself more peace and more joy. Like, yes, we have to be disciplined. Yes, I talk a lot about daily routines, morning routines, night routines, things like that. But a big part of self-love and just joy is being able to break those and do something that really gears towards you. One thing about those routines is you do want to have things that's already embedded in them to help you to feel better, But sometimes it's just breaking the routine itself is a piece of just relief, so there's that side of it too. This does relate to something that I was talking about earlier, but it still needs to be said. So we were talking about planning the family events first and making time for yourself. All of that might include you saying no to people. And you have to make sure you are saying no to people. When I say that, I mean not just with events, but like for favors. A lot of people that I know, a lot of women, men too, we can be overly helpful, overachievers in the area of like giving. So we do too much for other people sometimes, and we tend to think that that in turn helps us, which to some degree it does. Being helpful to people does make me feel good, right? But it's not necessarily something that's for me. And saying yes to everything can become a burden on you if you're not careful. One thing that my mom taught me that I want to share with y'all is that whenever somebody asks you for anything, even if you already know the answer already in your head and you know like, oh, I'm definitely going to be a part of this or whatever, practice not answering right away. Practice saying, okay, let me get back to you on that. Maybe even ask like, when do you need this answer by, or something like that, so you don't even feel like, oh, I have to do it today, tomorrow, even if you really don't have the time to really actually evaluate if you need to do this thing or not. Because saying yes is very expensive. Like whatever you say yes to, you're saying no to so many other things. And then like we got so much to worry about. It's like we need time to properly weigh out if that yes was worth it or not. And I know it sounds like, well, I might be over exaggerating, but I'm really not. Like if I'm just thinking about some things that I had to work on, even like over this recent like past year, I had to work on like how I wanted to change my retirement and how I wanted to move my investments. What am I doing with my family this year? What are some things that are on my to-do list that I forgot about? Listen, I'm sure you all understand, like our to-do list, if we really sat down and readjusted our to-do list, there's so many things that you can do if you just say no a few times to other people. So understand that nobody needs a yes instantly. For the most part, they really don't. And that kind of brings me into something I love talking about, which are fake emergencies. There are so many people that ask for favors. They're like, oh, can you do this for me? And yeah, can you send this back to me ASAP, or whatever it is. But like honestly, get into the habit of making people wait. Get into the habit of not responding right away. Get into the habit of asking them, when do you need this by? And really have them give you the date that they need it by, not when they would like to have it. When do you need it by? Because you need to be able to give yourself proper time to process, plan, do it, provide it, attend it, whatever. But you have to literally give yourself time. A big reason why a lot of us are overwhelmed is because we're not giving things the proper time. So that's the biggest thing here, time. Act as if everything is your fault. Everything. Sounds crazy, right? But everything. Even if, let me give a wild example. Even if somebody came over and purposely knocked my camera off the table, right? I'm going to say, oh, that was my fault. And not in a way where I really hold on to that burden and I'm like disciplining myself, and not that, but like that means that either I shouldn't have invited this person to my space. There's wind coming through the window. It's very windy today. Either I shouldn't have invited this person to my space, either I need a new tripod that is not able to be knocked over, or something of that sort. So that means whenever something happens, I know that I need to change something in order for it to not happen again the next time. That was a weird example, but I'm just going to say it like this. If we continue to put the blame on other people, that means that they can control everything. They can control how we feel. Our hands are off it. It's nothing we can do about it. And for a lot of things in life, it's just not like that. Now, this can be arguable for a lot of different things, but for many things, and I'm talking like relationships, jobs, a lot of things, we have to put more accountability within ourselves so that we can understand in what way, even if I can't change this entire situation, there's something, or what part of this can I change to lessen how this feels, or to feel 1% better with this thing. And that's what I'm trying to say. I need you to practice doing that. Don't completely say something is other people's fault, that person did it to me and this and that. What part in this can you be responsible for, and what part can you change? Because that's another reason why we feel overwhelmed, is if something is completely in somebody else's hands, now we're sitting back and we're feeling helpless, and we can't do that. We cannot take that position. Even if you have to ask for help, have that as like your last resort. If you really don't see any part where you can take responsibility, take accountability, okay, well, I need to ask for more help with this issue next time, or with this thing, from someone who's qualified to help me in this area. This is one of my favorite ones. So don't be so serious. Like, take life serious, but don't be too serious. There are very serious things that we have to take care of, like family, health, money, jobs, all types of things, right? But it's a lot to handle. So knowing that it's a lot to handle, yeah, we have to take things serious, but you have to take a step back and just have fun with life. If things do not go the way you expect for them to go, you cannot hold on to that from now until the day that we're gone. You cannot do that. You have to let life do what life is going to do, based on your abilities, based on your timing, based on the people moving around you, based on the resources that you have available to you, based on your knowledge. There's a lot of things that can affect what we expect to happen and what we plan to happen in our life. So we don't have 100% control over it. So when things do shift and go off course, you cannot let that take you out. You cannot. If anything, find some good part of something. Force yourself to see the good part of something in that, and just move with the way that things are going. Because what else can you do? If you couldn't control how it happened the first time, all you can do is change some part of it the next time, or to avoid certain things from happening down the road or something like that, if you could control that. But you have to have fun with life. Tap into your inner child sometimes. Like, there are certain times where I'll just be doing random stuff. Like, I might sit here on my iPad and color a picture, I think going to take a walk reminds me of like things I would like to do as a child. So like that kind of brings out my inner child. Some things that remind you that we're not just adults trying to handle life and solve problems. Like, we have to take a step back, release some of the stress, let it flow. Here's another one. So you have to create new traditions. So I'm a millennial, right? And we already realized last year it's our time. It's our time to plan the cookouts, cook the foods, do all the things that our aunties and uncles used to do. So now we are the planners. We're the people hosting things at our houses and stuff like that. So welcome those new traditions. Things aren't the way they used to be, but that's okay. That's the beauty of life. Take things as they come and create new traditions. Our traditions are traditions until they aren't anymore. And because they aren't anymore does not mean that things are lost. That means that you are welcoming in new things, and a new way of life is fitting with you better. So welcome those new traditions and have fun with them. Make them creative. And remember that traditions are traditions because it's what people enjoyed, so they wanted to do these certain things. But traditions are traditions also because it's just, that's how something naturally worked at a certain point in time. And if it doesn't work anymore, that has to change. Another thing that makes a lot of people feel overwhelmed, and I know I kind of touched on that a little bit, talking about finances here and there, retirement and things like that. It's not fun to talk about for a lot of people, but finances is one of the things that really make a lot of people really overwhelmed and stressed. So when it comes to that, there are resources out there. There are free companies out there, trusted resources that you can tap into to help you make new spending plans and allow you to get a hold of your finances so that your finances are not controlling you. That's one thing that has to change for many people. Finances control how they do things, and you need to control your finances to work the way that you need it to. And it does not matter how much or how little you make. It's just you have to manage what you have properly until you can get to the point where you're making more or change those bigger things. But it has so much more to do with the management of it than how much you are making. Easy places for you to start would be wherever you bank. So whatever bank, credit union, go to them and ask them questions and continue asking questions until you understand what you need to do or what's going on or what's what. That's what they're there for. And the last thing is stay true to these things. Do what feels right for you, but also stick with it. If you are working on these new boundaries, these new perspectives, and these ways of thinking to your life, you want to make sure that you're sticking to it. So whatever you need to do to remind yourself, like have an accountability partner say, hey, did you take your time to answer this question, or did you say yes to that invitation right away? Or if you have to put screensavers on your computer or on your phone and it says like new traditions are okay. Or if you just have something on your calendar each day that reminds you of something, like reach out to a financial advisor or different things. Make sure you have these reminders set for yourself, because we were living in one way for a very long time. So it's easy to just hop back into things when you aren't planning and you aren't sure how to move forward. But these constant reminders will help you to be able to really shift the way you're living, really shift the way you're feeling. So do what you need to do to remember, and let me know how it works for you.